All right, hello everybody. This is Miss Pikarski. I am out running around and dropping kids off at taking kids to doctor's appointments and all that fun stuff today. So, you guys have a sub and you get to watch this video. I really hope everybody watched the other video that was the homework assignment last night. If you did not, let the sub know. Go sit in the corner and watch the other video first. And then you can watch this one and work on all the worksheets. All the worksheets that you receive today are due at the end of class, whether you're done or not with them. So please, please, please work fast, pay attention to the videos, and get as much done as you possibly can. Unless you are watching videos or your homework video on your phone, I do not want to have your phones out, so get them put away. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Everybody should have a calculator with them because we are going to be graphing a lot of formulas and we will be changing the windows quite a bit. So make sure you have this worksheet out. Notice on your paper, let's see, let me change the page. On your paper, the graph goes from -10 to 10 and -10 to 10. So you are going to want to change the window in your calculator. When you're on the graphing screen, go to Menu, go to Window, Zoom, Window Settings, and then change your settings. -10 to 10, scale of 1, and then -10 to 10 and scale of 1. All right, so that will just give you or help you get the window set up correctly so that your graphs look fairly decent. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. On this worksheet, you want to graph each of the 3 different formulas and then compare and contrast what the graphs look like. Okay, with the first one, you just have x cubed. Okay, very basic graph. It goes up like this, has a little curvy thing here. If you recall from the homework video you watched, if we have a graph, a degree of 3, then we can have at most 2 bends. And it looks like we have a curve there and a curve here. Okay, the relative minimum maximums are hard to see with this one, but some of these others will probably be able to see them better. All right, so because the degree is 3, I can have as much as 3 bends. All right, so the next graph we're going to look at, let me delete that. It looks like this. We have x cubed minus 3x squared. If you type this in the calculator correctly, this is what your graph should look like. If you don't have this picture, it's probably because after you get the x cubed here, after you type that in, you have to type the little arrow key over on your calculator, or else what happens, this whole thing gets put up as exponents instead of on the side of the exponent, okay? So make sure you push the arrow key on that one to get this graph here. Now the next one looks like this. And again, notice that your curves here, you could hardly see them, but down here and here, you can see them a lot easier. So let's go over the similarities and differences on this with these 3 graphs, okay? First of all, the ends are going in opposite directions. If you look at all 3 of these, one side goes down, one side goes up, okay? That's the similarities between the 3. Okay, then some of the difference, graph A and B are increasing on the right, but graph C decreases. Okay, so we're increasing over here, and then for C, you're decreasing. Okay, what's the difference? What's causing that change? Well, your leading coefficient. Remember, it's the leading coefficient that determines whether you're going to go up or down on the right side. Okay, so it's positive here, so we're going up. It's negative here, so we're going down. All right, and then the next problem number 2, I'll do that one with you as well, and then you guys could do all the other problems on this worksheet on your own. You have x to the 4th power, graph that. It looks something like this. And remember, because it's x to the 4th power, we should have 3 bends, but it looks like we just have 1 bend there. Well, we can have as many as 3. That doesn't mean we have to have all 3 or that all 3 have to show up. Okay, now let's look at the next one. Looks something like this, and this time you can see the 3 individual bends there. Okay, and then this one, Looks very similar to this one, just upside down. Okay, so let's go over the similarities and differences. The ends go in the same direction. Okay, so the left and the right side both go in the same direction. Left and right are both going up here. Left and right are both going down here. Well, now there's lots of differences between these three formulas. Okay, graph A only has one minimum point, but graph B and C have three relative maximum or minimum points. Okay, so that's, you can have as many as three. You don't have to have three. All right. And then again with the leading coefficient, this one has our leading coefficient going down. These are going up. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and have the substitute pause the video. I want you to work on the other problems. He or she is going to give you about 5 minutes to work on these problems, and then we'll move on whether you were done or not. She's going to go ahead and move on, and then at the end of class you might have some time to finish up any of the problems you don't get to. All right, so let's go look at this one, what's going to happen. Okay, now this time, go ahead and keep your calculators off until you fill out these columns here. When you're ready to start sketching your graph, then go ahead and plug the formulas into your calculator and see what they look like. All right, so now recall what you saw in the video, the homework video. You've got a degree of 2 here, so you just write the number 2 here, okay? That's our highest exponent. Well, if we have a degree of 2, the maximum amount of bends we can have is 1. So we're going to write a 1 there because that's the number of bends. And then look at your leading coefficient. Notice it doesn't look like I have a leading coefficient, but because my coefficient isn't there, that means the coefficient is just 1. Okay? So, and because of the negative sign, I know it's -1. So that means that both the left and the right side are going down here and here. Okay? And then if I wanted to sketch this graph, now that I have these 4 columns, I guess, filled out, now I'm going to go ahead and use my calculator, plug this formula in and graph it in the calculator. One thing you should be aware of, though, is look at your values on your x and your y axis. Okay, it's no longer -10 and 10. Now we've got -8 to 8 on my x-axis and -300 to 300 on my y-axis. So you do need to go ahead and change your window. Let's see. So with this formula, our window looks something like this. Well, you can't really see what's happening. We want to be able to see it. So go ahead and change your window to match the ones on your worksheet. Go to Menu, Window 1, then put in these values. Notice my Y scale is 50 here. I know that it's going to be 50 by counting the tick marks on the worksheet. So go ahead and change your window settings, and then let's look at what your graph looks like. All right, so your graph should look something like this, right? Okay, this is what, if you typed everything in your calculator correctly, this is what you should get. Okay, notice I have one bend here, left side's going up, and the right side is going up. All right, so let's look at another one of these. Whoops, I was looking at the wrong equation, wasn't I? What equation is this? 8x squared minus 55x minus 61. I think that's problem number 1 here. Yep, I just showed you the answer for number 1. Sorry. In fact, now that we know that, let's go ahead and just show it up here. We can look at it as we're answering the problems. Let me make that a little bit smaller. All right, so that's, I spilled the beans, guys. Sorry about that. All right, so that's what our graph looks like. This is the formula. The number of degrees that we have is 2 because of this 2 here, which means we have one bend. And then we know that our leading coefficient is positive, so the right side is going to go up and the left side is going to go up. And that's what we get in our calculator. All right, so I want you to go ahead and work on the rest of the problems on this worksheet. Let's see, how many more problems do we have? Let's see. I should probably get rid of that. Wow, you have a lot more problems. So I will probably have this pause this for about 10 minutes, let you get practice with some of these problems, and then we're going to go ahead and move on. I do want to look at one more. Let me see. Let's do number 4. Let's look at number 4. Our degree is 3. So in this column, you put the 3 because that's your highest exponent. If the degree is 3, that means I can have as many as 2 bends. Your leading coefficient is negative, so that means the right side is going to go down. Because your degree is an odd degree, that means the left side is going to go up. Okay, now I'll let you guys go ahead and plug that into your calculator, and you guys could then draw the graph. All right, let's see, what else do we want to do? Oh, yep, there is another worksheet. So have those pause this for about 5 minutes, 10 minutes, give you time to work through some of these problems, and then move on to the third worksheet, and then you could have the rest of the time to finish these 3 worksheets. All right. So here's our next worksheet. With this one, you have the graphs, you have all the formulas, you just need to match up the correct formulas with the graphs. Okay. The way to do it is use the process of elimination. First, look at the number of bends that there are. So we have 1 bend here. So this graph needs to be a x squared. You've got 1, 2, 3 bends there, so it has to be x to the 4th power at most. Okay, you got 1, 2, 3, 4 there, so you're looking at x to the 5th power right here. 1, 2, 3, x to the 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, here's another x to the 5th power. Okay, I'll help you with the 2x to the 5th powers, and then you can figure out the rest on your own. All right. So let's see what we're doing. So we have x to the 5th, x to the 5th, and then notice the right side here is going down, so this one is going to be a negative, and the right side here is going up, so this one's going to be a positive. Okay. With this one, so we are looking for an equation that starts with x to the 5th power. Here's one of the x to the 5th powers. Let's see. This is one of them. Where's the other one? X to the 5th. Here's the other one. Okay. Your coefficients, then look at your coefficients. This should have a negative coefficient. So number 7 should be E. And this has a positive leading coefficient. So this one should be G. Okay. You should be able to use the process of elimination to figure out the rest of these. I will tell you there's 2 of them that are going to give you fits. Number 14 and 10 look very, very familiar or very similar to each other. So let's look at them. We're looking for, in both problem 14 and problem 10, you're looking for x squared and with a negative coefficient. So you have f is an x squared with a negative coefficient, and c is x squared with a negative coefficient. Okay. Then, and this is something we haven't covered yet again in this unit, look at your constant term. So let's see, for c and f, okay, this constant term at the very end is going to move, or it's going to shift your graph down or up. Remember at the beginning of the school year when we were talking about transforming graphs, and we said whatever number was at the very end, that tells you whether your graph is moving up or down. And let's see, we said, so number 10 and 14 were the 2 that we were looking at. If you look at this, number 10, you can tell is much higher than number 14. And so I'm going to say, even without looking at the answer sheet or knowing what's in the middle of your graph, 14 is most likely going to be F, and 10 is most likely going to be C. Okay, see if you can now, so right here I've given you 4 of them. See if you can find the others, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 problems, and see if it all works out. You should use each of these once. So we already know what G is, we know what F is, we know what E is, and we know what C is. So all you have to do is match up the other graphs. Again, you don't need to look at, I can't talk anymore. You don't need to know what's happening here in the middle. You need to look at your leading coefficients and your degrees, and then if there's 2 that are still very similar to each other, go ahead and look at your end values here. Okay, all right, so that's the end of this video. I hope you guys will work hard and get all 3 of these done. If anything that's not done in class before the bell rings, go ahead and staple them all together and turn them all in. I need to know who was working hard or who was wasting their time. Okay, I will see you guys tomorrow. Be good for the substitute. If you need her to rewind anything and see it again, go ahead. The rest of the class time is to work on these worksheets. All right, bye.